To be honest, having seen a person that I'm used to seeing in a very kid-friendly TV show, now grown up and in a really action-heavy role, was honestly kind of cool.
Oh, hi, Mark.
Hey travelers, welcome back to Roberto's Room. So I am, of course, talking about the new movie, actually I think it's about a year old at this point, Aftermath, starring Dylan Sprouse. Yes, one of the twins from Sweet Life of Zack and Cody, which was honestly kind of interesting seeing him in this kind of a role, because I'm more familiar with him in that world, but it was a really good movie, and I wanted to talk about it with you guys because I actually thoroughly enjoyed it. Now, is this a perfect movie? Honestly not. This was actually directed by one of the writers of Terminator Genesis, and it also stars Mason Gooding, who, after I did a little bit of research, realized that he is actually the son of Cuba Gooding Jr., which was kind of interesting and wasn't something that I was expecting. But of course, this stars Dylan Sprouse in a really gritty military role. He is a discharged Army veteran, and he has a lot of PTSD. Actually, this movie touches on a lot of PTSD, not only in his character, but also Mason Gooding's character as well, who is the antagonist. And honestly, I think that is, not to jump into it, one of the ways in which this movie kind of falls short for me. Because as much of a discussion as it does have about PTSD, it doesn't really take it all the way, which would have really set this movie apart in a really awesome and really meaningful way. But before we start this review, I just wanted to have you guys please comment down below if you've seen Aftermath. Please let me know. And if you will, also please give it a thumbs up, give a like to this video. And if you haven't subscribed, I looked and about 97% of y'all that watch my videos don't subscribe. I would love to have you come on board the channel. We have a ton of videos that I'm making, and I am super excited to show them to you, but your subscription and your views really help. Thank you to all that have been subscribing lately, and I am so happy to have you. But without further ado,
smile everyone! We're back.
So like I said, this movie touches a lot on PTSD, a lot on trauma. Of course, this is by no means the only movie that has touched on this. However, it has the beginnings of a good discussion on PTSD. And honestly, had this script been tightened up a little bit more and really given that side of the film, which it kind of, you can tell it's like chomping at the bit to get there, but it never really gets there, to have this discussion, had a lot more freedom to explore PTSD, because you have both the hero of the movie and the villain that are struggling with this, and of course the villain's also struggling with other things, which this is a non-spoiler review, so I don't want to spoil too much. Just to say, there is a lot of struggle in this film related to PTSD and war, which these are things that should be discussed more, and I think there are a lot of people just in real life that deal with this, so I think that the movie missed a really good opportunity to really talk more about this topic, which isn't really discussed all that often. But the movie is a really good film. It is a very tense film. There are moments in this movie that you don't know who is going to survive. There are some characters in this movie that, again, you don't really know if they're good, if they're bad. There were a lot of tension, especially with one character in particular, that he seemed a little too friendly, and, the moviegoer mentality is, there's gonna be a twist, And I don't want to spoil it for you, but there's a lot of characters in here that you don't know if they're good, if they're bad. The movie takes place, for the most part, on this bridge that is being held hostage by this group of paramilitary, and they are out for revenge, and really the main villain, played by Mason Gooding, is truly unhinged. Some might say cartoonishly so in some scenes, which again, that comes with that whole tightening thing I was mentioning a little bit ago. Some of the time, his manic behavior comes off as way too strong, but hey, he swung for the fences, so Mason Gooding, I can't fault you for that. But the movie really excels in the action department, and the movie has really good action for the most part. I think that some of the hand-to-hand combat could have had a couple more passes, maybe done a little bit more with a stunt double, but the actors actually did a lot of the combat, at least it seems that way. Some positive there and some negative there because some of the fighting does seem a little stunted, but for the most part, like I said, the action is actually really good in this film, and the way that they solved the problem at the end was something that I actually really enjoyed. It was something that I wasn't expecting, and I like being surprised in a movie like this because you think that you know how it's going to go down and what all is going to happen, but the way they actually deal with the quote-unquote final threat in this movie was done in a really cool way that, again, I wasn't expecting. So overall, I think that this movie was a great film. I think Dylan Sprouse did a phenomenal job at playing this character. Again, there are some scenes that, because again, I think that this movie could have, on the whole, done a lot more with the PTSD conversation than it did. It struggles, but on the whole, I think this is a fun watch. I had fun watching it. And again, this is yet another film on Netflix from a director that probably wouldn't have gotten any other way to do a film like this. And Netflix gave him the opportunity, and we have it. We can enjoy it. And I definitely recommend this movie because all in all, I thought it was a really good time. It's enjoyable, keeps you guessing, and what more can you ask for? But let me know what you thought in the comments down below. If you've seen the movie Aftermath, I would love to hear from you down in the comments. Also, again, please drop a like, and as well, if you haven't, subscribe. And if you do, hit that notification bell to be notified every time that we go live with a video on this channel. I've got a lot more down the pipeline that I am dying to share with you. Thanks again for watching this review, travelers, and as always, go with grace.